And where I'm from, you never see karaoke on the streets. So I thought, hey, that's really beautiful that aunties are getting together and singing, and anybody can join in. Hey guys.
Hello.
Today I'm talking to Trang from Dimo Channel.
Yes.
Can you tell us a bit about yourself?
Sure. So, hello everyone. My name is Trang, and currently I'm the YouTuber, also for a content creator for the Dimo channel. Yeah, and I'm currently also a tour guide. Yeah, in Vietnam.
Yeah, that's right. And we are in Vietnam. We are in a mausoleum today, and I thought I'd take this opportunity to ask Trang about Vietnamese culture. So just yesterday I was strolling in the park and I saw people playing, lots of kids, old ladies, singing karaoke.
Oh.
I've seen people play board games in the park. Now this is actually very different from where I'm from, where people don't really hang out in parks. So I've noticed the culture here seems to be more holistic, more social. I was wondering if you could tell us a bit about that kind of social culture and how it plays into Vietnamese life.
I see. I haven't been to New Zealand or Australia, so I'm not sure how you guys normally did like social activities there. But in our culture, like when you come to the park, especially in early morning or in afternoon when we have after the school after the school finish, normally you can see a lot of like old people, also some kids. They can go there to do some exercise. Yeah, especially in early morning, then you can see a lot of like a lot of aunties and old people. They also go to the park, did morning exercise.
Yeah,
they do a morning exercise. And in the afternoon, maybe kids, after the school, they also come there to the park, relax and just hang out with the family.
Yeah, I noticed people were singing karaoke. And where I'm from, you never see karaoke on the streets. And if you do, it's going to be some street performer, busking, right? And so I thought, hey, that's really beautiful that, aunties are getting together and singing and anybody can join in.
Yeah.
And it made me feel like, wow, this is not only, really social, open atmosphere, but people were not shy. People were not ashamed or nervous or self-conscious to sing. Because where I'm from, people get self-conscious. You don't want to sing in front of other people, or you get more self-conscious about what other people think of you.
Yeah.
And I notice in Vietnam, that's not really a thing. It's not really a thing as bad as it is in our Western countries.
Yeah. So maybe firstly, when you hear they sing karaoke, you will find very curious, and this is so cool, right?
Yeah.
Because also in our like for example in my neighborhood, when they have when a family they have kind of like party, maybe just to celebrate a good news within their family. For example, birthday, weddings, they will have the karaoke. Yeah, and then they will sing. When they sing, the whole neighbor can listen to it. So maybe at first time, okay, for a few hours, maybe okay, but some they just sing until 10 p.m. Will you feel annoyed by that?
If it was loud and if it was my neighbor and I needed to get sleep, yes, I would feel a bit annoyed.
Yeah, but of course it's also cool. It's also kind of like, as I mentioned, it's like a family gathering or friends gathering. So they just do the karaoke. We don't really think much or like getting shy or something.
Yeah,
we just,
exactly.
Yeah, we don't feel shy.
Yeah,
we just sing.
I noticed there's less judgment of other people and less self-judgment. So in the West, what I feel like is people judge others more and they judge themselves more. So they would be less inclined to participate in just random things happening in the park, you know,
Oh.
compared to in Vietnam, it's just accepted, including, you know, I can walk around and film people and people aren't conscious of it all at all. They're just
Yeah.
whatever, you know, I can take a video with an auntie, singing karaoke, or I can dance or anything.
Yeah.
And it's just part of life.
And then Vietnamese are quite hospitable. So when they see foreigners, they taking pictures, taking videos, joining for a karaoke, joining, even invite you for the party. Yeah. So they really welcome you and we feel happy for that. They won't feel like, oh, you can't do that. Mostly, most people will do.
Yeah. Yeah.
But also depends on some certain situation. Some may get shy.
Everyone wants a thrill.
Yeah, but overall we are quite hospitable and welcome, and we feel very happy to invite foreigners for that party or something like that.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, when you come passing by a karaoke place, if you want to join, just go ask. Yeah, maybe 99% you can join.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Lovely. So we touched on some of the good aspects of Vietnamese culture. Would you be able to touch on some things that you think Vietnam could improve on? Some aspects where maybe the West does a better job, in your opinion? Maybe Vietnam's culture could adapt or change to be better.
Sure, of course. To be honest, I'm also a content creator. I also do interviews foreigners about what they like, what they don't like about Vietnamese culture, and actually, most of them are not quite happy with our traffic, with the motorbike. You know, it's so crowded, a lot of motorbikes, and they're afraid to cross the road, and they can't get used to the honking noise. So maybe we can improve on our infrastructure, and also maybe more rules for the motorbike, you know, so that foreigners may not so afraid of it.
Okay.
But I think it's going to take some time, long times, to change this, because in Vietnam the most convenient transportation is motorbike. Still, for daily transportation routine, working, school, so it's quite hard like to eliminate motorbikes in Vietnam.
Yeah.
But I think we can have some more rules, some traffic rules that people can follow more. Yeah, so it can create maybe more organized traffic and let the foreigners feel less scared of that.
Yeah, okay.
I think so.
Okay.
Other than that, I think that of course we still there's still many other aspects we need to improve, even for tourism. Like when you come to Vietnam, I think it's quite hard for some to communicate in English. Yeah. But I hope in the future maybe more and more young generation they can speak English. Maybe that can be also more helpful when foreigners come to Vietnam. But I think today we have Google Translation and everything. I think
Pretty good now.
That's pretty good.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other than that, do you think any other area we should improve?
Oh, that's a hard one.
Or anything you don't feel, you know?
I don't know, because I've only been here 1 week.
Yeah, but from your foreigner's perspective.
So I would say you have two different kind of, okay. The West is very individualistic.
Oh, okay.
So everybody in the West has a stronger sense of self or me. there's good aspects to that. There's also a lot of downsides to that. But there's very much a like me kind of focus. In any Asian country, Southeast Asian country, what I've noticed is there's a lot of a weaker sense of self. There's less of a sense of me, and there's more of a sense of the collective. And there's a lot of benefits that come with that. There's a lot of benefits with like social cohesion, I think, that the West may not have, because in the West you might have a lot of different opinions, and it's very polarized. So you've got people here, you've got people here, left and right. You know, there's a lot of fighting, a lot of infighting going on, and there's often a lack of social cohesion or understanding. In Southeast Asia, there's less of that strong sense of self. With that comes the downside of groupthink, where you may just accept the current paradigm or what other people think because everybody else is thinking it. And I think when it comes to innovation, when it comes to thinking different or accomplishing certain things, that particular viewpoint may not be as beneficial. So there's this idea of spiral dynamics, and it models how societies evolve through different stages. Basically, spiral dynamics shows that as societies and cultures evolve, they go through stages where they are very collective focused, and then they go through stages where they're very individual focused. And at every stage, they may learn different aspects. For example, the West was more collective in the past, but then people became more individualistic because they recognized some of the downsides of being too collectivist, right? You don't have that autonomy. You have to do what your parents tell you to. You have to marry the person you want to marry. Your parents tell you to marry. I'm not saying that's in Vietnamese culture, but you know, it's somewhat common in Asian culture. So you have a lot of that kind of pressure and influence. So then what happens in societies is they kind of further develop is they become more individualistic. So now it's more about me. They're learning more about what do I want to do? What do I want to do in life? I want this career. I want that career. But with that comes a downside too. Can you think of the downside?
Oh, because from what I heard from you right now, then I think Eastern culture, we are quite collective. Right? And then as the times passing, we learn more. We are more open to the new world, to the Western world also. So will we become more individualism?
But can you think of the downside of being too individualistic? What's the downside of that?
Downside?
Yeah.
Maybe you think just about your opinion, like less caring about others.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's good because you will be more determined. You determine of what you want. But sometimes because you lack of experience, you lack of knowledge, maybe because what you think may not be 100% correct.
Yeah.
But you still firmly believe in that.
Yeah.
You know, so you don't care about the rest. In some situation, it's good. You can be the leader. You can you can find the new things. But in some time, maybe it can also quite risky and make you become stubborn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the downside.
All right. Could you tell me a little bit about your life living in Vietnam, and what inspires you? What sort of dreams you have for and hopes for the future?
Oh, so actually, before I study abroad I study university abroad in Macau, China, and I study hotel management. It's have nothing related to tour guide or the current life being a content creator that I'm having right now. Yeah. So basically, after finishing university, I don't know. I always want to travel across Vietnam. At first, because back at that time, when I finished, normally in general, students in Vietnam, they don't get much chance to travel by themselves. only until university, only when they grow up, you know. So because I stay in Vietnam. I was born and raised here and study until 18, until finishing high school, and then I went abroad to study abroad. So I also didn't have much chance to actually travel all Vietnam. Yeah, so but at that time I just have a kind of like dream to be a solo traveler. So I came back and then did some. I spent around 6 months traveling and also making content, making videos. I would travel to different cities in Vietnam. Also met a lot of foreigners, and I just hang out with them, make videos, and then I think that it's cool. It's nice to meet foreigners, you know, making videos about introducing Vietnam to the world, and also learning more about foreigners' perspective about Vietnam. So then I just inspired by that, and then I would love to continue doing it. And then later on, I also think, oh, I love traveling. I travel a lot. I introduce people about Vietnamese culture, so I learned and then took the license and then become a tour guide. So now I'm a tour guide and also content creator. So that's my current dream. I want to do them well.
I love that, and I love you. I love your videos.
Thank you, thank you. Although it's still a lot of things to improve. Yeah.
I'm curious about something.
Yeah.
Do you have a dream to travel to other countries and make videos?
Of course, of course. My dream is not only traveling in Vietnam but also the world. When I have the suitable time, I will. Yeah.
Is there a country that you have your eye on?
Yes. Maybe I really want to travel to Europe.
Europe? Okay.
Oh yeah, because it's a different culture compared to the eastern side.
Definitely.
Yeah, so more like Western culture, and it's just different things. And I haven't seen snow in my life. I want to see snow.
Snow? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. No snow here.
Yeah, no snow.
Maybe you'd like New Zealand. We have beautiful mountains and we have lots of skiing ranges.
Yeah. I know.
Gets nice and cold.
Of course, any new country, any new places, I'm always welcome to. I always feel want to visit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything new is fine.
Okay. And do you have any particular mindset or philosophy that really resonates with you?
Philosophy?
Philosophy or mindset, a way you see the world, or your attitude towards life. Does any of that kind of resonate with you and shape how you create content or explore or give tours?
I think maybe this also comes to one of the downside of being collectivism is that some may not open too much to see the world. You know, they kind of more close and stay inside their circle. But I think for me, I try to always stay open. You know, when you come to a new culture, a new place, when you go traveling, also, there are of course some bad things, some good things about every country, and I think just be open and that's how I travel and how I make videos. For example, I do make videos like interviewing people, right? You can't feel like you always have to open to listen to other people's opinion. Sometimes maybe they have a different opinion from you, but it's just their thinking, their viewpoint. You need to respect it and just, you know, learn and just respect and then be open. I think that's how I make videos. Yeah, some people maybe have kind of I don't agree with their opinion sometimes, but I do respect that. That's not how I make content. That's how
And how does it feel when you're open?
I think that you feel less offense sometimes when you stick to one thing and then you have people against you. You will feel offense, and then you are wrong. I am right. You try to change people opinion, but I think this not the way that you make, not the way I make video. Yeah.
And
I think
how would somebody become more open? Let's say they aren't so open. Let's say they get really offended when they hear other people's opinions, and it's like, oh, what can I do about that? I get really triggered. What do you think about that?
Oh. Then maybe read more, see more, travel more, because when you meet more people, I think there will be more people have the same opinion of that person. And then when you hear and when you know more people have the same opinion with him, it's not only him, but it's a group of him, a group of people like him, then you feel more, okay, many people have that opinion also. Many people have our opinion also.
Yeah.
We should kind of respect, I think.
Yeah,
maybe
exactly.
at some first times, you will feel offended somehow. But just slowly, you feel more open, I think. It's the matter of time and the matter of yourself, whether you're willing to continue and be open, and then if you just meet person and then no, and then the next person no, it's kind of hard to change. But just take some time, slowly, I think you can be more open.
I think with any new experience that's really foreign, there's an aspect where it's maybe a little bit uncomfortable because it's new, you don't know what's happening, it's a new culture, or it's something that goes against what you've learned at a young age. You've been told, the leaf is brown, but then you go to another country and maybe the leaf is yellow. You're like, what is it? Yellow leaf, right?
Or
now,
red leaf.
Red leaf, you're like, no way, it destroys my view of reality, right? Now, that's kind of a silly example, but when it comes to things we believe, or comes down to things we experience, or different opinions, that's where seeing other people can really trigger us or bring things up. But that's actually really valuable if you can dive into that and you look at, okay, why do I think this way? And where did that belief system come from? And maybe I'm not right. Maybe there is some aspect of truth to what they have to say. And maybe even if I don't fully agree with it, I can understand their perspective and see, oh, they're coming from this place and I'm coming from this place. And I think that's really valuable in developing that like openness. And when you develop that openness, you start to see more of the beauty in life, even in the good and the things we don't like. You can at least have some respect to it, or some gratitude or interest to those things.
Yeah, that's
true.
Yeah. Because I'm also from collective background. I'm not individualism. So also take some time to learn and adapt, I think.
Yeah. So I got one final question and then we'll wrap up. I'm curious about, so right now it's the, I think 28th or 29th. And so tomorrow is the day, right?
April.
The 30th of April. Can you tell us what that day is?
So that is the Reunification Day of Vietnam. So tomorrow on 30 April 2025, we will celebrate 50 years, like anniversary of the Reunification Day. That is kind of a big and also important event for us, for Vietnamese people.
And on this day, so I've been traveling, I've been seeing lots of people taking photos outside the Ho Chi Minh Memorial, and everywhere I go, all these famous landmarks, people taking lots of photos, people with the flag, people in uniforms, military uniforms.
I also have flag inside my bag.
Oh, do you? We can take it out later. So it's really patriotic. Now, I come from a country, it's so new, right? New Zealand is 100, 200 years old. Australia is a couple hundred years old. They're not very patriotic. They don't have a strong culture. But Vietnam's been around for thousands of years. So seeing this patriotism is really interesting to me. Now, I'm curious, what do Vietnamese people think of the day coming up in general? How do they perceive their culture and how do they feel about it? And just one side point, you know, I was at the museum where they were showing the war crimes and atrocities, you know, talking about Agent Orange and things like that. And I was really surprised because a lot of girls were taking photos with the museum, at the museum with the flags. And it was surprising to me because that would never happen in my country.
Oh.
I would very rarely see a flag. So maybe you can tell us a bit about the Vietnamese relation to patriotism and the country.
So, as you see, Vietnam history, we have been through a lot of wars and a lot of difficult times, a lot of conflicts. So to gain the independence that we have today, we have to sacrifice a lot. We have been through a lot. Many previous generations, they have sacrificed a lot for our independence today. So that's why we really love the freedom that we have now. That's why on the National Day, on the Reunification Day, we all very kind of like patriotic, and we really love our flag. We're really proud of them. When you come to Vietnam, even football, you know, when our country win a big football games, everyone go on the street waving their flag.
Now this patriotism, how did it form? So from a young age, what did it look like? At school, was there something, or your parents, or did you just go to lots of events and you know you really participated in different cultural things? Maybe you can touch on that.
Maybe I think that it's developed from many generations already. Previous generation, they won the fights, they won the wars, they brought the peace to us. Then the next generation, they're proud of that. Every time, every year, we have anniversary, we have events going on. Then of course, when we was born, every year's like that, then it start to get developed. While we were still young, and of course while we're at the school, we also learn about history. Yeah, and we also go out celebrating events. For example, on the 30th April, we have kind of like holiday. Vietnam is like for a holiday for all Vietnamese people. So some family will use this occasion to go out traveling. So for example, when I was young, maybe on the 30th April, my parents would take me somewhere, maybe back home to visit grandparents or go to other city to travel. Yeah, every year like that. So many Vietnamese, they just grow up and then just on that day, oh, we have school off, no working, just go out for holiday, celebrating the Reunification Day. You know, it's just like slowly like that. We are more kind of patriotic. I think that's the way. I think.
Well, thank you for sharing, Trang. And do you have a message to the people for Reunification Day? Do you have a message to them?
Oh, message for local people or for foreigners who come in to celebrate?
Local people and then maybe foreigners.
Okay, so as a local people, of course, I also very proud and just enjoy the day. Just enjoy this day, and now we do treasure the past. We're proud of it, proud of what we did, but we're also looking forward to the new Vietnam. And I hope that we can improve and then welcome more people to visit Vietnam, to see Vietnam develop more. Yeah, that's what I think. Yeah, thank you for having me.
Bye.
Bye.